I'm going to record this right now because I'm going to forget it. I was listening to Alchemity. Please check out that channel. And she's talking about how she was dating this African guy, and he was talking about how she's a chameleon. She's a chameleon. He could take her anywhere, and how we reflect things back to people. And I really, really feel like that is something that's heavy in this specific collective and these people here. Is that we are often reflecting. And she said something in there that really stuck, which was tell people to tread lightly with you. Because when it comes down to it, you choose each day to be a good person. At any point, you could choose to not be a good person. People come in here trying to take your energy, trying to take something from you, trying to get your money, trying to whatever, but not give you anything in return. They're just trying to take. But a real big part of that whole chameleon thing, especially whenever it comes to this stuff, is like how we have had to code switch in a lot of ways. And everybody does it in different ways. Women code switch if they're talking to men. Of course, everyone in the black community, pretty much, if they were raised amongst other black people, there's code switching. But of course, everybody does code switch. People of all races. Like, say, if you notice that when you're talking with somebody, you tend to take on their accent. There are all these things, and they can call it neurodivergencies or whatever, but really when it comes down to it, you live so many lives that whenever you're talking to somebody who's living a different one, you can kind of see it. You can kind of reflect it and give it back to them. And that's also why people are so freaking either enthralled by you or scared of you. And this goes for all the people who are here. I know that for a fact because, it's just simply who is meant to be attracted to this are the people who are doing the work. Honestly, people who could have been a monster if they wanted to, and they're so lucky that you have decided not to. You've decided that, you know what, I'm going to live for me and not for whatever nonsense they want from me. Or I'm going to live for something that I don't necessarily have to feel ashamed for feeling. Even just relieving that shame that you're feeling about whatever it is you've been feeling has been a huge amount of alchemy in your life. And I think it's also, you can tell whenever you're doing it through a masculine way or through your feminine energy. The masculine energy will be a bit through anger, through physical exertion, all that stuff. Meditation can be a little bit more feminine because it's a little bit more ethereal or whatever, or in between. But it's also like the feeling in your body, the comfort in your body, feeling your emotions in your body, which can be very hard, especially for people who are, depending on whatever type of body you have, depending on the hormones you have in your body and whatnot. Like, it can be very, very difficult to express other emotions. And so also, really go check out Alchemity. I think it's what it's called. But she's also talking about how the light, the dark, you can be the light, you can be the yin, you can be the yang. And it's so funny because before I watched that video, she's like, you could be the yin, you could be the yang. And I was talking about the yin and the yang I was talking to myself as I was cooking. And I was like, let me put this on because I got this notification. Finally, I'm getting a notification. Anyway, my phone is notifying whenever it wants to. But I got a notification for a comment on my video, which means I saw a notification for this other thing. But the yin and the yang energy is like the masculine and the feminine. A lot of people who are coming into this collective seeing me, that's because you're moving in your masculine a lot. It's because you're moving in your yang. So you're moving in like the material this. You're moving in the grind mentality as opposed to there's ebb and flow. And so sometimes you do like push something, but like whenever you're swinging, you're not, I don't know when the last time you sat on a swing set and swung yourself like a child. And like, especially if you are in your masculine energy, you probably would feel silly and weak and vulnerable to do so. I highly recommend just going to swing. I don't know why that's coming up for me, like, but you need to go swing. 5:35, as I say, it's like, you need to go swing. I want to see some grown men and some grown women up on some swing sets. Like, post it, tell me about it, send it to me. Anyway, but after a while, you don't have to keep kicking the whole way. Your body's gonna swing. The mechanism is doing its thing, and you can relax because you've done the work. Now, I'm not saying just like fall asleep, don't do nothing ever again. I'm just saying you can like bask in the fact that you've completed some work instead of immediately going into, okay, what do I need to do now? Okay, what do I do now? What do I need to do now? I promise you, sometimes what you need to do is nothing. Sometimes you're consuming. Sometimes you're creating. Sometimes you have to go back to consuming. Sometimes you have to go back to creating. Sometimes you're doing nothing. Sometimes it's a cycle, and you're allowed to have a cycle and go through it. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden, because you're not doing that thing you were doing 24/7, you don't, too much of anything is a bad thing. Doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, it's just too much. It's just too much. It's too much of the flavor in the soup. It's too salty. It's too sweet. Quit adding so much stuff. Add a little bit of something else sometimes. Variety for yourself. And it can be small varieties. It doesn't have to be these huge things. Like one day you are playing piano and the next day you are climbing Mount Everest. But it might be if you wanted to. So anyway, that was it. That was just a quick thing. I'm going to finish cooking dinner for the family. And yeah, much love to you guys. Keep a lookout for the numbers and stay synchronized.